Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renata. I'm an advisor for Education USA based here in Brasilia. And Elisa, can you introduce yourself as well?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the session. My name is Elisa Machado. I'm an Education USA advisor based in the city of Goiânia. I'm in the Midwest of Brazil. I'm very close to Brasilia. For the ones who don't know, I can see there are some colleagues of mine from the Southern Cone. Welcome to the session. Um, and we want to thank you, Amber Lee and Daniel Truesdale, for organizing this session with us, which is very instructive. Thank you so much. Renata?
Yes, for sure. Thank you. So I think STEM is an area that everyone wants to get to know more about it, right? It's really on demand right now. Before we start talking about STEM and Amber Lee's and Daniel's amazing programs, I wanted just to talk briefly about Education USA, right? So, Education USA is the official source on higher education, okay? And we are the official source because we're affiliated to the Department of State, the US Department of State. And our mission is to connect the Brazilian students, our case, right, in Brazil, the Brazilian students, but to connect international students to the universities in the US, okay? From undergraduate studies to graduate studies to short-term courses, okay? And we do that by having events like this one, but we also do in-person events like our fairs, right? And we also do guidance. We always give guidance for students that want to go study in the USA. Okay. And with that, I want to start talking about STEM, right? With Daniel. Daniel, can you introduce yourself? And then let's go ahead and start.
Absolutely. So it's great to see everyone. Thank you for joining. Yeah, my name's Daniel Truesdale. I'm the director of enrollment management and analytics for the Applied Data Science program at the University of Chicago. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. I have a short presentation for everyone here. Out of curiosity, let me go ahead and um, can everyone see my screen? Yep. Okay. And
Yeah. Yes.
out of curiosity, do the participants do they have the ability to like chat, like enter something in the chat, or because I'd be curious, how many of you are familiar with the concept data science, and have you seen, artificial intelligence, generative AI? How many of you are familiar with those concepts and terms, and how many of you see it in your life every single day? So in your chat, just kind of feel free to, say, hey, these concepts are new to me, or yeah, no, I use it every single day, or I'm very familiar with data science, machine learning, and AI. And it'd be kind of cool just to see, the varying levels of insights. But for my part, uh, today I want to talk to you about the exciting STEM opportunities that exist in the Midwest, in the United States Midwest. A lot of times when people think of the United States, they think of New York City, or they think of the coast, the West Coast. And there's a whole lot of green in between. And so we're going to kind of show you some of the benefits of studying STEM in the Midwest in the United States. Specifically, I'll talk about the city of Chicago and its great geographical location and everything that comes along with that. And then we'll talk about the University of Chicago, which you may or may not be familiar with, and a lot of exciting opportunities that are coming down the pipeline at the university, and ways you can get involved with the university without even having to apply to a program. There's a lot of research fellowship opportunities. There's data science seminar series. So there's lots of ways just to get engaged with the university. In addition to that, we're going to focus in on, okay, what's happening on the data science front specifically at the university? What is the University of Chicago doing to be a leader and innovator in data science? We'll talk about ways you can join our community, how to stay connected. And I think after Amber's presentation, then we'll have time for some Q&A. So again, My name is Daniel Tuesday. I'm the Director of Enrollment Management Analytics. I work with a team, Jose and Patrick. If after today's presentation you have questions about the program, our email address is right there. I'll give you all a second to screenshot it or to take a picture. Please reach out to us. We are more than happy to help prospective students or individuals who are just interested in the university, fellowship opportunities, even if it's not our program specifically that you're interested in, we're happy to serve as kind of like a connector, to get you in touch with somebody at the university so you can start to have kind of those real conversations about what it's like to study at the university. So again, don't hesitate to reach out. We love working with individuals. It's not a burden. We're happy to help as much as we can. So let's talk a little bit about the city of Chicago. So yes, so let's talk a little bit about the city of Chicago. So located in the US Midwest, in the state that we're located in is Illinois. So you see that little red dot there. We're right on the tip of Lake Michigan. Very close actually. Chicago and the University of Notre Dame too are in close proximity, and I'm sure Amber will talk about that a little bit later on as well. But what individuals tend to forget about Chicago is that's the third largest city in the US. And so with that comes a very robust economy, a very diverse economy. Lots of different opportunities are popping up each day. And the city of Chicago really is a global city. So if you look there at that middle picture, you have 72 unique neighborhoods in the city. And this gives you a wide variety of cultures, different feels to different communities. There's a lot of diversity in the city of Chicago. That bottom right-hand picture is, when people think of the city of Chicago, they think of that skyline. There you have what's called now the Willis Tower, but anyone who's from Chicago will tell you it's the Sears Tower. And then that top right picture is Hyde Park. So Hyde Park is about 7 miles south of the skyline, right, of the business sector of the city. And so you're strategically located in Chicago, where you have everything from automobiles to finance to startups, and we'll get to that in a second. But like I said, it's a very diverse economy with lots of opportunities for our students and for graduates from the university as well. And kind of going back into that, talking about the economy, we're home to the Board of Trade here. The Chicago Board of Trade is right in the heart of the city. Like I mentioned before, we're the third most populous city in the US. You see some of our key industries there. And there's over 7,000 tech companies that are in Chicago. So there's an entrepreneurial environment, there's a startup environment, tremendous opportunities to get involved. Maybe it's not necessarily in data, right? Maybe it's more on the technology front, or maybe it's more on the computer science front. But a lot is happening in the city, especially when it comes to data, technology, and innovation, which is really exciting to be a part of. And just to kind of drive this point home, I mean, if you go right now and you go on LinkedIn and you type in data science in Chicago, over 7,000 results. I can't remember exactly when I did this search, but over 7,000 results appear, right? Just for in the city of Chicago. So as you can see, data science is obviously a growing field, and it's growing in the city of Chicago. And that's good to see. This is one of my favorite graphs. So kind of going back to talking about, when people think of the United States, they think of New York and LA and the coast. One of the nice things about being in the Midwest is a lot of times your salaries are similar, if not comparable to the coast cities, but your cost of living is significantly lower. So for instance, San Francisco, California, compared to Chicago, your cost of living is approximately 50% higher. if you live in San Francisco as compared to Chicago. And in that previous graph, you saw the salaries were comparable, right? There really wasn't that big of a difference in salaries. It's even more profound with New York. You see the cost of living over 100% times higher to live in New York than in Chicago. And again, from the previous graph, you saw salaries are similar. And again, this kind of just drives the point home. You have Los Angeles and etc. I like this. I like to highlight that not just because it's a selling point for the University of Chicago, but the Chicago and its surrounding neighborhoods and its surrounding states, it's a great place to start a life, to start a family, to build a career is another thing with a lot of opportunities. And so I know students are always strategically looking at that, saying, I kind of want to get my footing, and be able to, get ahead, if you will. And so I think both the city of Chicago and the University of Chicago offer students a unique situation where you get the benefits of being in a big city without the big city ticket price, if you will, or sticker price, I should say. And when students kind of put that together, they go, oh, it's nice that my dollar goes a little bit further as compared to maybe some other popular destinations. So that's just a quick rundown about the city of Chicago. Obviously, there's more to learn about. So again, email us if you want to talk more about the city. We're always happy to do so. But now I want to talk to you a little bit about the University of Chicago. So the University of Chicago has a reputation for being academically rigorous, not just domestically, but internationally as well. Has a very extremely robust alumni network. And you can see right there, over currently 95 Nobel laureates from the University of Chicago. So it is a place of serious academic work and academic discipline. And those Nobel Prizes, I mean, they're in everything from sociology to physics to economics. And so one thing you'll notice at the university is there's a lot of crossover. It's not uncommon to see somebody in our applied data science program, as an example, work with students over at the Booth Business School on a startup endeavor. And that's great, right? Because the future really is going to be those individuals who can see connections across different industries and being able to innovate and create original solutions to problems that our society is going to encounter, in the upcoming 21st century and on thereon from. So when you're applying to the University of Chicago, you know that you're joining a prestigious network, a prestigious university. You consistently see this in the rankings, U.S. News, QS reports. And again, part of that goes back to the types of students that we recruit to the institution, but it's also the research and the efforts that the institution itself is taking. And we'll talk about this a little bit later on, like when it comes to the Data Science Institute, the endeavors that we're taking to be leaders and innovators in this space and not just kind of players in this space. Which again, I think is one of the reasons why you continue to see those positive rankings continue. So, you look at the city of Chicago, you look at the University of Chicago, and if you're specifically interested in data science, the next question is to say, well, what is the University of Chicago doing on the data science front to be an innovator, to be at the forefront of research in data science? And data science is this new discipline. I mean, it's a new STEM discipline that's evolving. And so it's both an exciting time. It can be a little anxious. Anytime you're in uncharted waters, it can be a little nerve-wracking. But a homework assignment that I have for everybody here is, go ahead and Google Data Science Institute at the University of Chicago. And what you're going to see are just numerous opportunities to get involved with data science at the institution. The Data Science Institute is fulfilling the university's mission of wanting to educate the next leaders in data science, continue to conduct research so that we continue to expand data science itself as a discipline, and then also making sure that our students, especially those in the applied data science program, are making those connections in industry so that you can take the theoretical underpinnings in data science and immediately go and put them into action. And that's really the focus. And we'll talk more about the program offerings in a second. But just know that we're not just focusing in on the, okay, we have an undergraduate graduate program. We're also thinking about what's next on the data science front and how do we work with our industry partners or corporate partners to ensure that they are getting the talent and that talent is learning the most relevant skill set so that you can continue to be competitive in the market, in the job marketplace. Again, if you do anything after this call, my portion, make sure you Google Data Science Institute at U Chicago. Several different initiatives are undergoing at the DSI. You have your hard science research, and then you also have your social science research meshing in with the Data Science Institute. One project one initiative that I see as extremely interesting is the Data and Democracy Initiative, right? Where we're trying to better understand how can we leverage data. I was there, was it research was last year, and they were looking at, okay, how do we use data science to try to eliminate false, at the time it was tweets, but I guess they're X's now. But how do we leverage data science to basically detect fraud on at the time Twitter, right? And how does that and then also what impact is that potentially having, of bots on Twitter? What impact is that having on, in our case, the US democracy, on elections, right? Those are the type of questions, those big questions, those underlying questions, that a lot of times do need to be chopped down into smaller pieces in order to be answered. But those are the type of projects that our students are working on, right? Real world, real impact questions. And like I said, maybe, the social sciences, you're more interested in the hard sciences, and you want to study, how can we use data science to improve environmental conditions? Every industry is going to be impacted and is already being impacted by the data evolution. And like I said, employers, researchers, they are looking for individuals who can harness this data and tell a narrative and have an idea and a strategy of how do we move forward with all of this information. And here's just some of the DSI leadership. One of the things I'd like to highlight about our leadership here at the university for the Data Science Institute, very well respected within academia. But then also a lot of them have industry experience as well. So, at the university, you're not just learning, okay, theoretically, this is, the best course of action. You're also understanding, okay, but how is this being applied in the real world? What are some potential shortcomings of these models? And how do we try to mitigate those risks and concerns that might come from using data that isn't 100% perfect, right? Isn't 100% clean. Because that's how the real world is, right? You're never going to have a perfect data set. Sometimes you're not even going to have a perfect research problem. And so you have to be able to deal and handle with nuance. And it's good to have advisors and those who have, kind of been in the space to understand, what is enough, what is too much nuance, and what is an acceptable level of variance and uncertainty with any initiative that you undertake. And so again, I think having that real world applicability, our students really appreciate that, right? Because you're not just learning, okay, in a perfect world, we would be doing X, but okay, this is what it looks like when you take that theory and apply it into action. So I do have a quick video from our director, David Uminski at the DSI. I'm going to plug my headset and I'm going to go ahead and hit, oh, I have to hit play. Oops. Maybe I have to hit. Or I'm not going to play the video. Nope, it doesn't want to play. That's okay. Let me connect this back. Okay, no video, just change of plans. So what I'll do is after my portion, I'll go ahead and throw the link to the video so you can all watch it later. But basically, David, what he goes on is to talk about how data science truly is a new STEM field, and it's exciting. It's exciting to be in a position where you get to be part of something new, where you're kind of in an uncharted territory. So I'll make sure to include that link there, so no worries. Great. So I just want to finish up with, I've been hinting at it. I want to talk about all of the different opportunities that exist at DSI. Yes, we have graduate education programs. We have a PhD, we have master's programs, undergraduate programs. But I also want to talk about, research initiatives that we have, summer internship programs, summer fellowship programs, some that come with a stipend. And so I just want to make sure that we're aware of all those opportunities because again, maybe you don't want to study at the University of Chicago, maybe you want to study at another university, but hey, having the summer lab on your resume, spending a summer at Chicago and gaining that research experience, wow, that's sure going to look good on a college application, or that's sure is going to look good on a job application. So there's a lot of opportunities here outside of just, graduate education. And for graduate education, and I'll hit on this in the next page, you do have your applied data science program. We now have an MBA joint program with the MS in applied data science. You have your MS CAP program, which is data science, more of the social policy aspect. And then you have your MS and PhD in data science. These two programs are going to be more research focused and trying to prepare you for a career as a doctoral student or a researcher trying to advance data science itself as a discipline. And we'll talk about that on the next page. But like I had mentioned before, we have the summer lab, which is a great opportunity. It's open to high school undergraduate students where you come for the summer, there's a stipend, and you continue to do data science research. You work with a team. So that's a tremendous opportunity. Like I said, even if you're not necessarily interested in, studying at the university, this is a great summer opportunity that always looks good on a resume or a job application. We have different, it's interesting when people think of data science, people tend to think, well, I have to have a technical background. I have to be a computer scientist or a math background. And the reality is that's not true. We need individuals who can understand the industry that they're working in and understand the nuance that comes with any situation. So in other words, it doesn't do you any good to have all of these data tools if you're not asking interesting questions and you can't define what the problem is. We have a professor in our applied data science program where he says, always start with the problem. You always start with the problem because if you provide a solution and there is no problem, nobody cares, right? So you always got to start there. You have to say, what is the problem? What is the issue that we are trying to address? That's where you have to start. And then you go and you look at your toolkit and you say, how could we answer this, right? And so as you could imagine, individuals who come from maybe a more social science background understand, okay, here is some ambiguity in the field. And here is something that if we could leverage data, we'd have better insight into understanding this phenomenon. And how do we characterize it and how do we talk about it? What are the ethical implications of data science? We're just starting to hit this question, where is it appropriate to use generative AI and where is it not appropriate? I know out of curiosity, you can just use like the thumb up feature or whatever, but I'd be curious to see how many have leveraged ChatGPT or AI or anything like that. Feel free just to, you can say, yes, I've used it, but anyway, the reason why I asked that question. So yeah, a lot of thumbs are going up. Yeah, so I did not know this, but these are the ethical questions that are going to be asked. Every time you ask ChatGPT to generate a response, you are using up a whole bottle of water. A plastic bottle of water. And so you sit back for a second and you go, okay, well, when you put it in that context, does it make sense to have a kid say, hey, give me, Pikachu with a baseball hat on? And you give me the picture with, and right. So those are ethical questions, right? Because there's a direct environmental cost to our generative AI usage. And these are going to be big questions that we're going to have to address. And so that's the full rounded education of not just understanding the tools, but understanding where they're appropriate to be used, understanding their limitations, and understanding the externalities of these tools. And then we kind of already talked about the research initiatives. So I can be a little long-winded, and I just realized I did not restart I have a whole pop-up feature, so I want to make sure I get advantage of that. But the programs that we have at the University of Chicago. So we have the MS in Applied Data Science program. This is a program that's designed for individuals who want to take the theoretical underpinnings of data science and go into industry. It is OPT eligible. We have a very strong international pool that applies to this program for the full-time in person. Again, it's in part because it's OPT eligible, it provides the visa, but also because it's a great way to segment into a data career and get started in the US if that's of interest. We also have an online program offering, which maybe you're located and you don't want to leave home. And but you're saying, hey, I want to get that University of Chicago education because I want to apply it directly to what I'm doing here at home. We have an online offering, both full-time and part-time. So the part-time, you could continue to work full-time while you're in the program. And it's the same caliber, same educational outcomes, just a different modality as well. And so again, that's the Applied Data Science program. Again, we have the joint MBA, MS in Applied Data Science, designed for individuals who are maybe thinking more of the consultant route, or I want to lead a team of data scientists, but I myself might not be doing the data science work per se. And again, these differences aren't like clear cut all the time, but again, it's going to give you a little bit more of a business focus than just a regular MS in Applied Data Science. The MCAP program, again, for those that maybe want to study and analyze, the environmental impact of using AI, right? And what would that look like if we were to impose restriction X, and what would be the result of that, and what would be the limitations, and what would be the potential business impacts. So that's where your master's in computational analysis and public policy comes in. And again, the MS and the PhD in data science. This is for students who say, I want to advance data science itself as a discipline. I want to go on and become a professor in data science. I want to do research and how do we advance data science itself. And so that's going to be more of your MS and PhD in data science. And the PhD is fully funded and comes with a living stipend as well. So then real quick before I hand it over to Amber, stay in touch. We have a YouTube page, an Instagram account. You can scan the QR codes if you'd like. We have a TikTok. You'll see me on there sometimes. Our head of marketing loves to make me do videos of holding signs in New York City saying, ask me about data science when it's like 10 degrees out. So, we have fun is what I'm trying to say. It's we like to have a sense of humor, but also we'll notify you if there's events coming up. So we do have the data science seminar series. We have Ask a Student series. So you can talk with current students, and, just as you collect that information, don't hesitate to reach out. There's a lot of opportunity here. And yeah, I'm gonna hand it over to Amber, and I think we'll do Q&A at the end. But thank you all for listening. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for your presentation. Just a reminder, if you have a question that you think of it while you are seeing the presentation, just put it on the chat and then we will address it at the end, okay? And then now, yeah, let's go over to Amberly. Can you please introduce yourself? And then let's hear about Notre Dame.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you, Daniel. I really love Daniel's presentation. Not only you covered great information about Chicago and the area, and I like how you gave us food for thoughts for the application and research for data science. It is also something we think about as we are looking at, a lot of our PhD areas. It's data science is in the core of it. Okay, so confirm your speaking language, asking me to choose Portuguese. So I will cancel. Alrighty, let me share my screen. You guys can see it? Cool. Um, so my name is Amber Lee. I'm the director for graduate programs at the University of Notre Dame College of Engineering. So I'm a little bit different in the sense that I'm actually representing the entire College of Engineering. So here I'm just gonna talk about all of our programs. So some of them, the information that I give will be generic. Some has more detail, but you are welcome to contact me afterwards. You can email me or add me on WeChat. I welcome students to contact me to schedule a Zoom. I'm happy to chat with you one-on-one about your situation, how to prepare for your application, and also kind of guide you through the application process because majority of our programs are PhDs, and it is very different when you are applying for PhD. The things you need to prepare, things you need to highlight in your materials, and even if you are right now freshman, sophomore, is actually not too early to prepare for your PhD application. There's a lot of things you can do to make yourself competitive as a freshman and sophomore. And of course, if you are junior, senior, you are ready to apply, email me and we can get your process started. And here I'm giving everybody a fee waiver to apply for Notre Dame's any graduate engineering program. So ENGREC 23 is the fee waiver code. So anybody that joins our session or part of the Education USA, you can use the code and then you do not have to pay the $75 application fee. So my colleague here at Education USA, feel free to promote the code to your students who's not unable to be here. So first of all, about Notre Dame, a lot of students do not know about Notre Dame. I found my international students sometimes wonder if we are in France, but we are located in the state of Indiana, city of South Bend, in the Midwest of United States. So a good reference point is Chicago. As you've heard about all the great things about Chicago, we are about 90-minute drive to Chicago. And that's the third largest city in the US. All the culture, the economy, all the happenings. Daniel had a great information about that. And also, if you go a little bit east, like 2-hour drive, you'll be in the city of Indianapolis. So that is the most centrally located region in the United States. You can reach 50% of United States business and 80% of US and the Canadian population by one day of driving from the Indianapolis region. So it's a very centrally located region. Some just photos of Notre Dame. We have a huge campus, 2 lakes, really beautiful scenery. People say we are in the middle of nowhere, but again, because of that, we have a lot of, we just have a spread out campus. We have 4 seasons because, we have really, really cold winter, spring, summer, and fall, really beautiful fall weather. This is our God Quad. It's one of the oldest area of our campus. This building with the golden dome is actually the most photographed collegiate architecture in the world. So we actually have tourists just coming onto campus and tour our golden dome and the basilica. we are ranked consistently among the top 20 universities in the United States by the US News and World Report. Our engineering program is the number 21st private graduate engineering program. And then we are a member of the Association of American Universities, which is a very prestigious consortium of American institutions. Some numbers about Notre Dame. So if you do not know this, but Notre Dame is actually not a huge university in terms of population. So we have a lot of research going on, resources, labs, but we only have about 9,000 undergraduates and 4,000 graduate students. So if you are at the point of researching many universities in the US, you will see this number being much higher at many big state schools, like University of Illinois or University of Michigan. That's, really close to us. So we are not a lot of students, but we have a lot of financial resources, research resources. The faculty to student ratio is consistently very, very low at 8:1, which we are really, really proud of. We have the third largest alumni network in the United States, and we have offices in India, China, Brazil, Chile, Hong Kong, I think the Israel. So we have a global network. Now I will talk a little bit about the academics in the College of Engineering. We have about 700 graduate students, 200 faculty, which make our faculty to student ratio at the graduate level even lower. Sometimes if you're a PhD student, you may be in a class with just 2 other people. That's a wonderful thing. You get very, very strong connection with the faculty. You have a one-on-one attention with the professor. So that's something we are really proud of. We have 5 engineering departments. I will share on the next slides. A lot of labs and facilities for our engineering students. So the 5 departments are aerospace and the mechanical engineering, chemical and biomolecular engineering, civil, environmental and earth science, computer science and engineering, and electrical engineering. And all of these departments have their master's and PhD programs. We also have bioengineering and material science and engineering. They are not a department, but they are also programs within the College of Engineering. So this is just the range of programs that you can look into if you are consider applying. And of course, if you go to each program website, there's way more information. There's how to get connected with each department, but you can always start with me. So majority of our programs are PhD. So we do not have actually a large master's student population. We have probably less than 50 master's students. So majority of the graduate student population are PhD students, and every single admitted student is granted full scholarship throughout their entire duration of the program. So the scholarship has a full tuition waiver, a stipend. Right now, we just upped the stipend to $41,400 for the next academic year, and we usually increase, a couple percentage every year. And then we also have full health insurance coverage. So if you are considering applying for a PhD program at Notre Dame, you do not have to worry about finances. You do not have to apply for additional fellowships or scholarships from your government, from your current institution. I mean, those will be great. But usually for students who come with additional funding, sometimes we don't even use it because we have full funding support for you. We also have some financial support for our master's students, which is great. Some master's students get teaching assistantship or research assistantship. So that would cover kind of like half of their expense. So that's about our, but we do not have currently full support for the master's program. Some career outcome data for our engineering graduate students. So a common misunderstanding is that if you come to do a PhD program, you usually end up in academia. So that is a misconception because 70% of our PhD engineering graduates actually are in the industry. So you can see on the left-hand side, the top employers that have hired Notre Dame PhD graduates from our college. and also the top positions. And of course, the states that our students are going to for their postgraduate career. So if you, a lot of you might not know what is a PhD program, and then what does a PhD mean? Like, you know, that's a graduate program. You will take some more advanced level courses, but essentially I wanted to tell you that PhD is about these 4 things. So the first one is coursework. Yes, you will be taking advanced coursework above your undergraduate level. But the master's degree also do that, right? You will be engaged in some sort of teaching assistant work, so that you can develop your ability to connect with, you know, the junior population, you know, public speaking skills. It's good training for you. The most important part, and this is how a PhD differs from a master's program, is PhD is essentially a research degree. So the majority of your time and energy will be spent on doing research. So this could be following along with your advisor to execute a research idea, or it also means that you need to be independent as a junior researcher, develop and execute your own research ideas. So the third point is the most important part for your PhD life. Lastly, of course, if you are thinking about joining the academia, or maybe you are thinking you will just be going to industry, the professional development is an ongoing thing throughout your 5-year PhD journey. And yes, so PhD in the US is usually 5 years. Sometimes some students can finish in 4. Sometimes students take 6 or 7. It really depends on the work you are doing, whether your advisor approves it. And so it's very individual basis. I would say usually we want the students to graduate within 5 years. Another misconception actually I wanted to mention is you do not need a master's degree to apply for a PhD. I know that's the case for many other countries, but here in the US, once you are finished with your undergraduates, you can either go into a master or a PhD. It's parallel. And then during the PhD program, you actually get some of the master level training for us. So many students at year 1 or 2, they could apply to get their master's degree for free if you're a PhD student. And then you continue to move on in your PhD journey. So life on campus as a graduate student of Notre Dame College of Engineering, I think the most important thing is the community. If you could just grab anybody, you know, on campus and ask them to tell you what is the most special thing about Notre Dame, they will tell you it's the community. Whether it's the community of the, you know, the school or you know, in the college, we are just like a close-knit group. And then sports. So if you love sports, hey, Notre Dame is for you. So I have to pretend I love football to fit in. That's how crazy Notre Dame is. So anyway, so football, we are a collegiate champion. We are a legendary team, Go Irish, and we are also very strong in fencing, women's basketball, soccer, swimming. We have Olympic winners in our fencing team. We have the 4x100 swimming. One of the swimmers is also a Notre Dame student from the Paris Olympics. But anyway, so sports is huge. We have great sports facilities on campus, from ice skating rink to indoor swimming, aquatic center. So you will find your place here if you are a sports fan. Just always like to show everybody the photo of our stadium, which can host 90,000 people. And it's in the middle of nowhere. Nothing, you know, if you're in Sao Paulo, or if you're in Shanghai, or if you're in I don't know, usually the largest stadium is in like the capital city. But here you have a gigantic stadium in the center of Notre Dame. So that tells you how crazy we are about football. Intercultural learning is a critical part of your study in the college, because more than 50% of our graduate STEM population is international. So you will have to work with international colleagues, postdocs, faculty, taking classes, a lot of collaboration going on. So intercultural learning is a critical part. And of course, since we are so close to Chicago, our graduate school as well as the college organize many trips and activities to foster community building. We take you to Chicago so that you can, have fun on top of being in the lab and in your research group. We have, different housing options for you. You can live on or off campus. Both are great options depending on your style of, living that you preferred. This is just a picture of some facilities that I mentioned. We have indoor climbing wall. 2 dining halls are also available for graduate students. You can purchase meal plans. In the middle is our library. Left top is our new new student center. My last section, I will talk a little bit about application. And again, I know everybody's situation is different. If you are early in your game, email me, we can talk. If you are ready to apply, please also email me. I'm happy to look at your CV and then we can discuss what is the next step for you. So for eligibility, usually successful students, our graduate school actually requires a 3.0 as a minimum GPA to apply, but usually successful graduate applicants actually are 3.5, 3.8, 3.9. So the higher, the better, right? So as an international student, English proficiency is required. So here I'm listing the score that we accept for each test, TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo. You can choose either one of these. So one thing I wanted to mention is that we do not have a hard cutoff for the English score. So let's say if your TOEFL is 90, but your speaking is 21, 2 points below the preferred, it's okay. Submit it. We will usually arrange an English assessment interview. We're not going to make you retake the test. I think that might be different for Daniel's program, so he can talk about it. But I know many schools are very strict in terms of their language evaluation. But because PhD is complex, we wanted to look at your whole package, like your research skill, your everything. So if you are like 1 or 2 points below TOEFL, or if your IELTS is like 6.5, I think IELTS we are more strict because it's such a every level is 0.5, but I would say TOEFL we've had students who are like 78, 79, Duolingo 115. So yeah, this is the English requirement. GRE is optional still right now for all of our programs, but we do not know if we want to bring some programs will bring GRE back for the next academic year. So I would say when you apply this fall, make sure you double check. And of course, if I'm delivering the presentation, I will update my requirements, but right now it's still optional. We have different deadlines for each program, but the earliest is December 1st for our chemical and biomolecular engineering. And that is a early, it's the priority deadline. So you actually do get notified within 3 weeks of submission so that you will know if you are in the program or not by Christmas. So that's the earliest deadline. And then please check individual website for more information. And the most important thing is to check the research area and the faculty on our website, because your application, the biggest thing is how do you highlight your research competence and how do you elaborate that's a good fit with the particular advisors you are choosing. So I can talk to you individually more about that. But reviewing the website is a critical homework before you apply. And materials are very standard. If you apply for any US graduate programs, transcript, English test scores, CV, resume, statement of purpose, and recommendation letters. If you are interested in knowing, more about that, you guys can post questions and we can share more. And the last slide is what we are looking for in terms of, when we are evaluating PhD applicants. So as I said, 3.0 is probably, that's the bottom line. Usually our PhD admitted students have a GPA of 3.5 and higher. And the very most important thing is their research experience. So whether you have research experience on your campus, or maybe you come to Chicago or Notre Dame to do a research, or maybe you do some remote research with other institutions, it all works, but you kind of have to have some sort of research experience. And then as to how you frame it to make it a good fit for your intended research area, That's a strategy we can discuss in another conversation. Of course, we look at how your recommenders discuss your research potential, and as a a junior researcher for our master's program, we hope to see references from industry, like demonstrated that you can collaborate, you can work with stakeholders, your internship experience. However, for PhD, we pretty much exclusively want academic reference. So those are your professors for your senior, junior level courses, or better, your research advisor. So that's, again, difference between master's and PhD in terms of application. And lastly, my contact information again, feel free to take a screenshot and email me afterwards. And then remember to send me your CV so I can take a look in advance. And usually I will reply you with a Zoom link so we can talk one-on-one afterwards. So now we can go to some questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amberly. Thank you, Daniel. Also, both of your presentations were very informative. We got to see a little bit of what life is in your universities, a little bit of what programs are available, how it works. So thank you very much for that. It's an amazing opportunity for everyone that is here to understand a bit better about how this process works, right? How the application process works. And also getting to have that opportunity to talk one-on-one, that really makes a difference. So thank you. And now we're gonna open for questions. Okay, so if anybody wants to make a question to either Amberly or Daniel or both of them, okay, you can either open your microphone or put it in the chat. They're here to answer you.
So I would like to ask a question because this is something that I get from advisees at my center. Do you have any, and I know that this could vary from institution to institution, region from region, but do you have any estimate of employability after they finish the program?
So yeah, I can start there. I mean, our specifically for like our MS and applied data science program, our students do very well in industry. That's in part because the program is specifically designed for that. It's specifically designed to prepare you for a job in industry. One of the big components we have in the applied data science program is the capstone project. And so with the capstone project, we already have industry partners lined up where you take on a real life project. And the goal is, whatever your solution is to the data science problem is that it goes into production. It's not uncommon for employers to hire individuals who've participated in capstones on full time. But even if you're applying for, maybe you don't want to work for that exact employer, it looks great on your resume. It's going to put you ahead of the competition because, especially with a full-time in person where, maybe a lot of students are coming straight from undergrad, or maybe they have a year work experience, having the ability to showcase to an employer, here's how, I tackled this fraud detection algorithm at Northern Trust, and maybe you're applying for a position at BMO Harris or another financial institution. Having that real world application is only going to strengthen you. It's what employers are looking for, right? Because they want to know, can you take theory and work in the real world where very rarely is your data set clean, and half the time your client doesn't even know what they're looking for, right? So you have to learn how to navigate and work on all those different relationships. And we have a career service team here to support you. So you're not going on by yourself. The career service team is here to make sure that we're preparing you for technical interviews, that we're getting you in front of employers with career events, that we're hosting lunch and learns, and that we're reviewing your resume. So you do have a whole community here. So I'm glad you asked that too, because part of a master's program, and this is true for the PhD as well, is growing your network. So when you're here, you want to take advantage of the community that you have gained access to, because you're going to be surrounded by very talented individuals and you're going to be surrounded by individuals who often are leaders in their respected industries. And so you're going to have all of that at your disposal, not just the educational outcomes as well.
So for Notre Dame engineering program, I believe 95% of our students actually already secured employment before they graduate. Because again, majority of our students are PhDs, and they have 5 years to cultivate and to develop their ideal career outcome. So many students they've gone to internship in their second, third, fourth year, and then they secure a return offer for the employer. So that's really, really common if you are going to industry. For academic jobs like assistant professors, postdocs, that's even more straightforward, because usually you will be starting that connection in your fourth and fifth year. And then that's actually from the network, as Daniel said, you take advantage of the network you have access to, and then usually your faculty advisor, your faculty partner from another institution, you already have everything set. So that's what I see is like about 95%, and this includes all of our international students as well. However, the 5% is either they are unsure or they just refuse to fill out our career survey. So I cannot say 100%, but I feel like all the graduate students, the international students that I talk to, that I work with, everybody secure their dream job. Many have really, really great titles, but whether it's academia or industry. So we are really proud of that.
Amber, I know that feeling. Our career service team has to track down students after they graduate and go, where are you? What are you up to these days? What's your social security number? No, but they have to, it's no, it's that's always fun. So, but no, I mean, yeah, and the other thing too is Notre Dame and University of Chicago, they're both great institutions. You really can't go wrong with either one. Um, they're great institutions, and what I always advise students to do is, take advantage when universities offer things like ask a student events or talk with a professor events or a data. Attend those events, because what you're going to start to pick up on is the culture of the institution. Each institution kind of has its own culture, or even not even the institution, the respective department too. And you want to go to the program that's the best fit for you, what you're looking for in your educational journey and career outcomes. And what makes sense for one person might not make sense for the other. So, take advantage. I always say, no pun intended, but like you want to collect all these data points, and then you take in all that data and information, and then you make, I always joke, you want to be 95% confident. You're never going to be 100% confident, but you want to be 95% confident, with the significance level at 0.05. Yeah, so I hope that helps.
Thank you. Yeah, that's something that we always say as Education USA advisors, right? Like finding your best fit and how important it is for you to do your research and go to events and learn about each university, And right here we have two very different universities, right? You have a urban university, which is University of Chicago, a suburban one with a view, right? And really, I think your campus is one of the most beautiful ones that I've ever seen. Like it's really beautiful. But yeah, these events are for that, for you to learn more about each university. Okay. And thank you for that. Do we have any more questions? All right, I have one question if nobody has one. So still adding to that point, when you're talking about career centers and how your university supports students in finding jobs after graduation, right? After finishing the program. Before that, how do the students build, how are the relationships between the students and the teachers and the students and the research advisors and that kind of stuff? Because I think that's important, right? Throughout the program.
Amber, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first, or either one's fine?
Sure. So can you clarify? So you mean like how are the students' relationship with their like research advisor managed? And
Yeah, if they are able to have like close relationships throughout the program,
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, of course. So for if you are in our graduate program, uh, I already said our faculty to student ratio are extremely small. So usually our students are having one-on-one attention with the faculty they are taking class with. But the most important relationship they have to cultivate is the relationship they have with their principal investigator. That's their, faculty advisor. So that is a 5-year long relationship if you are in the PhD program. And that is crucial for your, career, your everything that you do. And here, I feel like Notre Dame's faculty is extremely supportive. I think that's the one big thing that I can say about our faculty, because I think we do not just care about what our research is. We actually care about what you want to achieve. So I have seen many, many students that maybe changes research direction because they found out, what they are admitted to do is not what they are really passionate about, or find additional faculty advisor because they want to see, seek a collaboration. Or sometimes students switch groups. These things happen if with some other universities, it can be a big conflict and a challenging situation. But I feel like Notre Dame, what I've seen is we just really want to support the students. And yeah, we give you a lot of flexibility and room to develop and cultivate your own interests. So that our faculty are very, very, and our staff as well, very, very supportive.
Yep, and what I was going to say, and on top of that, for like our applied data science program, you know, our next full-time in person starts this upcoming autumn. April 30th, for students that have already been admitted, we're having a welcome webinar, right? So a virtual welcome webinar. So this is to get you, I mean, this is just step one, right? This is just to, okay, who are going to be your contacts at the university? Let's get you in touch and make sure people are seeing faces, right? So that way when you come onto campus, it won't be the first time that you're seeing everyone. You'll kind of know everyone a little bit already, and you're trying to break that ice. But the thing that I want to stress for, and well, real quick, our student affairs team does a great job hosting different events to kick off the year. So that way, last year they rented out an entire restaurant that had like they have like different games. I forget what the one's called, but you roll the ball or whatever. But anyway, there's a lot of different events, different ways that you can meet with your classmates outside of academic, right? Try to get to know them personally. But the one thing I wanted to emphasize for international students, I know it can be very daunting to, okay, not only am I applying to an institution, but then I have to figure out the visa, and then I have to figure out, there's a lot of logistics. And my general advice is, one, you don't have to have everything figured out at once, right? So you can take things and, okay, first figure out, is this something I even want to do, right? So you kind of figure out that first. If the answer to that is yes, then you start to explore, what are my options? What are the resources I have? Education USA is great. University of Chicago has an Office of International Affairs, right? So if you're having like a logistical issue with a visa, we know the person, we know the direct email, we send you straight to them, and then a lot of times it's a simple fix, right? But if you're not dealing with it on a day-to-day basis, it can seem very daunting. That's why our university has experts, right, to help you with these situations so that you're not going it alone. And I think that's the biggest thing is when you join at the University of Chicago, and I'm sure this is true at Notre Dame as well, you're joining a community, right? You're not on your own. You're not having to figure out everything by yourself. Maybe your homework assignments, but other than that, right? You're working with, anything that's kind of logistical, bureaucratic. We have support structures in place to help you. So that way you can focus more on your education and career goals. We don't want you to get caught up in logistical, bureaucratic, loops. We want you instead to be what you are coming to be, a student first, and being able to learn the material. So just know that, because I think sometimes that gets overlooked or forgotten, that you're not on your own. We're going to help you every step of the way, and it's okay not to have everything ironed out perfectly. No one ever does. I work with a lot of international students. There's always, oh, I need that too. And it always works out. We have you on a good timing schedule. We communicate with you regularly. You're not in the dark. So if we need something from you, believe me, you'll hear from our team. So you don't have to worry about that. We'll make sure you're all squared away. So I think that helps students just feel a little bit more comfortable knowing that you've got professionals who this isn't their first time around the block, so to speak. They kind of know okay, this is the routine of things and how to handle situations.
For sure.
And
It helps a
yeah,
lot.
sorry.
No,
No,
go on. She froze for me. Did she freeze for you guys?
Yeah.
All right. So does anybody have another question?
I have one. Actually, I want to know if there something related to international relations in your program.
Do you mean like like a master's or PhD in international relations, or like within the data science program if there's like a concentration or?
Yeah, I don't know if it's related to the data science, but here in Brazil we have a graduation, a bachelor in international relations. So I already has a master degree in history. Then I'm thinking about it. If there is some PhD in international
Oh,
relations,
yeah.
something like that, you know?
Yeah, so I don't know if the University of Chicago, and I'll let Amber speak for Notre Dame. I don't know if we have like an exact PhD in international relations, but don't quote me on that. What I can do, I'm going to throw our email in the I'm going to throw my email in the chat. Feel free to email me directly, and I can get you
Okay.
in touch with, because I know we have like the Harris School of Public Policy, for instance, and they're going to have, so I don't know if it would be specifically like a PhD in international relations, but it might be PhD in public policy with a focus on international
Yeah,
relation.
interesting.
It might be something like that. And I'm a graduate from
Yes.
Harris. I'd be happy to get you in touch with the individual over there so you can talk about, what it is that you're looking to study and specifically and see if it could be a good fit.
Okay.
For Notre Dame, we do not have specifically a PhD for international relations, but there are two routes you can go. One is looking at our Masters of Global Affairs. I know you already have a master, but we commonly receive students who are doing their second master, and that is a fully funded master's program. So everything is paid off. You have full scholarship, stipend, just like a PhD. And that program actually has an international relations track. And it is one of our most diverse program on campus of pretty much 45 students cohort. We have 40 countries represented. So that's a great program if you are, the global affairs, international relations. So that's within our Keele School of Global Affairs. You can also email me. I can send you the link. The other route you can go if you're
Yes.
more looking at actually conducting research of international relations, you can take a look at our PhD in sociology, because there are some professors who are doing research in that area, and maybe you can develop a research proposal that can, work with their expertise. So that's just different tracks, but I'm happy to send you more information as well.
Yes. Can you send me your email?
Yeah, here.
All right, thank you. We
Thank
already
you so much.
passed the time, but if you guys have one more question, we can squeeze in one more question. Yes, Dandara.
Hey, I have I don't know how to ask it, but how flexible is the program? For example, if you want to study something within technology or data science, but you want to use it for something else in humanities, is that possible to mix those areas? For example, use it in education?
Yeah, so like for the applied data science program, the answer is yes. I mean, we've had students who they've taken the tools of data science and applied it in the field of education. I've seen projects in archaeology using data science and GIS. So absolutely, by no stretch of the imagination is data science only for the quote unquote hard sciences, right? The social sciences, the humanities are leveraging data science as well. Interestingly enough, formerly I worked with an individual who was responsible for helping to create Pandora, the music suggestion, and it was data. You know, that's what they were doing, right? They were looking at certain notes and rhythm, and I'm not a music person, so I'm gonna stop there with my analogy. But basically, right, they were looking at the data from the music and saying, okay, well, if, you know, the likelihood that somebody's going to like this song is X because we're clustering them, you know, based off of profiles and what else so they liked. I mean, that's kind of what you see with Netflix in a way. I mean, Netflix, if you will, it's an entertainment, right? And the way it suggests videos and movies and TV shows that it thinks you'll like is based off of evidence it's seen from other individuals who have similar characteristics to yourself. And that's effectively data science. It's predicting, right? It's forecasting what it is you're going to like. And so you can see how that's easily extended into, you know, questions and kind of the public policy perspective of, you know, well, maybe we can use data science to predict, you know, fraud, you know, in fraud and receipts in terms of payments and things of that nature. So, long-winded way to say the answer is yes, absolutely. You can use data science across basically every discipline because you are having this data evolution.
And same for the PhD program as well. The only difference is you kind of have to know the niche area you want to go into when you're applying for a PhD. But here we have researchers doing, you know, using, you know, researching AI's impact in psychology, in handicapped students. How do we make sure ChatGPT is ethically employed when they are getting data from mentally challenged users? So like there's a lot of a lot of research area, social science, education, and then you can already see what are some of the research projects and research directions of our faculty when you are reviewing their website. So that's a key indicator of like, okay, I really want to join this professor's lab because he's researching how AI is used in, let's say, elementary school education textbooks for blind children. So there's like very, very specific research areas for those. So definitely do more. That's just one biggest homework that I told our applicants to do when they are looking at which faculty to apply when they are looking for PhD programs.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a great question. All right. I think we can stop the recording. Okay. I want to thank you, Daniel and everybody, for your presentations. Thank you for everybody that participated, that joined us this evening. We had, I think, 18 participants for the most part. So I think that's great. Okay. And also a lot of subscribers that were able to come in. Okay. But I want to thank you all, and I'm gonna give the Elisa, if you want to add anything.
Yeah. Sorry, I froze before. I know my connection was really unstable, and what I wanted to say previously is that just to reinforce what Daniel was saying, in taking one step at a time, Education USA works with our own methodology, 5 steps into your US study. So that's exactly what we tell students to do, and that's the right thing because it's a whole different process. So just echoing Renata, I just want to say that it was a great session. Thank you so much. I had a couple of students who registered, but at the end, finally, they were not able to join the session, but we're going to share the recording with them. And I just want to thank you and say that Education USA is here for whatever, whenever you want to organize other webinars or other presentations like this to connect you with our regions here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And we're happy to do it again. So anytime. And if you have interested students, feel free to send them directly to us.
And I'm still working with my leadership. I want to do a physical travel. So I'm trying to get down there. So
We're hoping for the best.
yes,
We'll be happy
I'm
to have you here.
I'm doing what I can, but hopefully, you really got to twist my arm to travel internationally, right? So, but no, I'll do what I can. So.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.